Hi guys, it's Red. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to read the documentation of Python using the dir and help function. Let's create a file, lesson 27 hyphen documentation.py. First, let's try to use the dir function. Print parenthesis dir parenthesis and run it. When the dir function has called without arguments, returns a list of names in the current local scope, which is why all the import we made will be listed. Now let's try to use it with an argument. Print parenthesis dir parenthesis double underscore built-ins double underscore and run it. And as you can see, we printed all the built-in functions of Python, which are functions that are always available. You may recognize some of them, like zip, range, type, tuple, str, print, frozen set. Then there are all the available exceptions and the boolean true and false, plus some special attributes. Now, let's try to use the dir function with a function we already used. But first, let's create a divider, print, parentheses, quotation marks, hash, asterisk, 50. New line, print, parentheses, dir, parentheses, print. As you can see, we printed a list with a lot of attributes. Those are dunder methods. Dunder stands for double underscore. And if you are looking for the documentation, the dunder doc is what you are looking for. Let's try it. Print parenthesis print dot double underscore doc double underscore and run it. As you can see, we printed the documentation of the print function, which tells us where it prints to a stream or to a sys.stdout, and which arguments we can use to modify, for example, what is the last value. We can use also a function to explore the documentation. Let's try. Help, parentheses, print, and run it. And as you can see, we obtain almost the same as before, maybe more clear and detailed. For example, we can see the default values, the space as separator, the new line character as end value, and so on. Now let's click enter to terminate. Now let's copy the line with the divider, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Comment the help line, print parenthesis list dot append dot double underscore doc double underscore and run it. As you can see, append object to the end of the list. Let's try to use the help function. Help parenthesis list dot append. And as you can see, a bit more as before, it's more clear the output of the help function, but it's almost the same. Now let's import a couple of modules. Import math, comma, sys. Let's create another line, paste, print, parentheses, dir, parentheses, mat, and run. And as you can see here, there are all the functions inside the mat module: log, log10, scene, sqrt, and so on. Now let's read the documentation of one of that. Print, parentheses, mat.log. That double underscore doc double underscore, and run it. Return the logarithm of x to the given base. Perfect. Let's paste another divider and print parentheses sys.stdlib underscore module underscore names, and run it. This print contains all the modules that you can use from the Python standard library. For example, os, math, and so on. Now let's try to filter the elements that start with an underscore. But first, let's read the documentation about the filter function. Print, parentheses, filter, dot, double underscore, doc, double underscore, and run it. So it wants a function or none and an iterable, which will be our frozen set. And the function will be a lambda function and returns a filter object that we will transform into a set. So the final set function that we want to generate will be composed of all the elements of the frozen set that returns true in the lambda function. Let's do it. Filter, parentheses, comma, and before, close the parentheses after the iterable, lambda, x, column, not x dot star suite, parentheses, quotation mark, underscore. This way should filter all the elements that starts with an underscore. Let's make a set of this, and then let's put everything in the sorted function. Let's try. And here it is. There are the time module, there are the sys module, the mat module, showtail, random. Those are all available modules of the Python standard library. Now let's try another interesting thing. Let's try to run Python from the terminal. Python, if you have Linux, is probably Python 3. Dir, parentheses, print, and push enter. In the terminal, we can run any function we will write into a file. If the function returns a value, it will be automatically printed. So the terminal is perfect to use the dir and the help function. Let's try to use the help function, help, parentheses, print. And we obtain the same as before. Then exit, parentheses, enter, and you are back in your terminal. Now let's recap. Lesson 27 hyphen documentation. We learned about the dir function. We learned about the help function. We learned about the filter function and the sorted function. And we learned about the double underscore doc, double underscore. And we learn about the std lib underscore module underscore names, which contains all the function available in the standard library. And we learn how to use some command from the terminal. For this lesson it's enough. Thanks for watching and see you in the next lesson.